Okay. That's what.
Good evening, everybody. The time is 7:02. We're going to get this meeting started. I'm going to wing it a little bit because there's been some changes of agenda and between what I prepped and what's here. So I apologize because I'm sure I'm going to go out of order at some point in time. So just kind of want to prep everybody for that. So please be kind. With that, though, we're going to kick off the meeting. Deb, would you kindly do a roll call?
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Hansi?
Here.
Counselor Purser?
Here.
Counselor Parrish?
Here.
Counselor Quigley?
Here.
Counselor Miller?
Present.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask everybody to rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I got to tell you guys, having a room this full with so many kids from the school with the Pledge of Allegiance is always such a thrill. And you guys are the first one of the school year. So thank you for being here. It's great to have you here. So with that, we have an agenda set forth before us. The correct agenda is the one that was emailed. If you picked up an agenda off the wall, everything that's there is on the agenda, just slightly different order. I want to make sure I'm portraying this accurate.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Mayor. So at about 4:30, we updated the agenda on our website, and none of the presentations changed. We just removed the Housing Authority meeting, as it will be the City Council discussing the Housing Authority bylaws. So we moved the Two Rivers Wildfire Coalition partnership to the first item on the administrative agenda, and then moved the discussion on the Housing Authority bylaws to the second. So same content, just no open and closing of the Housing Authority.
Thank you for that clarification. Other than that, any other changes to the agenda?
No other changes to the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. With that, I need a motion.
I move to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
First is second. Deb?
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Hansi?
Yes.
Counselor Purser?
Yes.
Counselor Parrish?
Yes.
Counselor Quigley?
Yes.
Counselor Miller?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very, very much. With that, we have only one proclamation or one presentation tonight, and I'm sure some of you guys know what's going on, I hope. With that, I'm going to... Okay. With that, though, is there somebody from the school leadership? Is Emily here to... Oh, there you are. Please come on up. Let's kick it off with you saying a few words, and then we'll do the presentation. Yes, please.
We have 4 fifth graders that we would like to spotlight today. They really just exemplify the expectations and attitudes and beliefs that we have at Rimrock. So.
Great, thank you. And with that, I'm going to ask some of my fellow council members to read the name, and then if that student would come on up and accept the certificate. And then we've got a certificate, we've got a pass for the rec center, we've got some buttons. We'll call each one of you up, have you guys hang out here until everybody's called, and then it's going to be picture time. So don't run away. So with that, Amy, would you kindly start us off?
Yeah, I have Miss Stella Graham. I have Riley Craig. Corbin Carrier, come on up.
Yeah, Corbin.
Sawyer Stuckey.
Oh, yeah. Feel free.
All right, that's a hard act to follow. So we're going to next open it up to public participation. Love for everybody to stick around. Understand if not everybody does. It is a school night after all. So, all right, with that, we're going to go ahead and move into public participation in our consent agenda. This portion of our meeting is set aside for City Council to listen to comments from the public about items not on tonight's agenda or items that appear on the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are those for which all conditions or requirements have already been met, and they're typically approved with a single motion without separate discussion. We welcome and value your input. To help maintain a welcoming, respectful, and productive environment, we ask that there be no clapping, cheering, booing, jeering, or sign holding. This helps ensure that everyone, regardless of their viewpoint, feels comfortable sharing their thoughts. Each speaker will have 3 minutes, and we ask that you begin by stating your full name and address for the record. If you have materials you'd like to share with council, please hand them to our city clerk, Deb Woods, so that they can be entered into public record and distributed appropriately. While council will not respond during this portion of the meeting, please know that we are listening, and we appreciate your taking the time to participate in this important process. Wow, look up and the room did empty out. With that, I'd like to open up the floor. If anybody has any thing that they'd like to say about anything that's on the consent agenda or anything else. All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public participation and bring it back to council. So we have a consent agenda before us. Are there any questions, concerns, anything anybody would like to pull off for discussion?
I'd like to get a little bit of clarification on the L road resolutions and ordinances. Just get I guess, start with just a clear understanding of what's going on. Got a little confused.
So Mike, sorry. I told you I was going to put foot in mouth.
Know how I feel about
Oh.
that. Well, thank you, Councilor Hansi. Yeah, so there are,
Sorry, let me get the right name.
oh, sure. Yeah.
Manager Shannon.
Yeah. We have a handful of resolutions and ordinances that are set for public hearing regarding an annexation of a jointly owned property that is owned between the School District 51 and the City of Fruita. So this is just first reading on those ordinances, and those will be heard at a future date, November 4th, for final second reading and decisions on those. Back in July, Council approved a resolution that authorized city staff to move forward with the annexation of this property. Right now, it's a county parcel, and the school district in the city, we see a lot of benefit to annexing that in. So we're using, our own code and everything else when things do develop out there. So that is the reason for the annexation and petition request.
So I just see that there's 13.7, 2746. I think one of them has 40 acres. Can you explain that?
Yeah, they have to be done. They have to be done in a certain order because the state statute says that there has to be 1/6 continuity to existing city limits. So you do one before the other so we can meet those continuity standards. And we will have a full presentation by staff and our planning director, Henry Hemphill, at second reading as well.
So just to be clear, we annex one in because of that annexation. The next one meets the 1/6. And so we're stepping it that
Gotcha.
way.
Gotcha.
That helps. That helps a lot.
There are 3 parcels or 2?
Two.
I guess I'm still confused with in K, it's 40 acres. So there's 27.46 and 13.7, and then a 40,
Oh, yeah.
all with this 1615 L road.
It's in total. Yeah. After they get annexed in, then the.
The annex and then zoning gets changed.
Yeah.
Oh,
A total 40 acres.
the individuals total more than the 40 though. Anyway.
Oh, wait a second.
Wanna make sure.
No, let's make sure.
It says approximate 40 acres. It does not say exact.
That's fair. I just want to make sure. So it's individuals and then we come together for that last one.
Yeah,
Just want to make sure we're transparent and clear. Thank
of
you.
course. Yeah.
Thank you for that question as well. All right. Any other questions, concerns? All right. Hearing none. Need a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. We have a first and a second. Any additional questions or comments?
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. One thing that's cool tonight is that we have 2 new appointments and 2 reappointments for our boards and commissions. As always, it's the, people that are willing to step up and help out and serve our community is really what makes Fruita Fruita. So with that, I would like to acknowledge 2 new appointments with Elizabeth Nunn to the Livability Commission and also Deborah Moreland to the Livability Commission. So thank you both very, very much for helping out. And then reappointment, Peggy Vertiz, thank you, and Eddie McClure. So thank you. We greatly, greatly appreciate people willing to step up and help. All right, so with that, we are, wait, I got to make sure I'm looking at the right one now. All right, we have one administrative item, which is the Two Rivers Wildlife Coalition. And with that, Katie, you are going to present. Sorry, your official new title, Management Analyst, and
Congratulations.
Travis, thank you. So are with the Lower Valley Fire Department. So thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Katie Lucero, Management Analyst.
Travis Holder, Lower Valley Fire Marshal.
And tonight we're presenting the Hazardous Fuels Mitigation Partnership with the Two Rivers. So first, I kind of wanted to go into why mitigation is critical in this area. As you all know, we live in a desert. So unfortunately, the risk for wildfire is very high, especially with warmer weather and drier winters. And as you can see, a few of the other reasons I have listed up there, wildfires are a risk to our homes, our natural habitats. And unfortunately, when fuels are not mitigated correctly, they can turn into disasters. But when we do it right, and even whether that's getting rid of fuels or doing controlled burns and things like that, we see less damage overall. So I wanted to kind of illustrate what happens when we don't do this correctly. As you can see up there, I only use statistics from this year specifically. It was not a terrible fire year compared to 2020, but compared to other years before that, it was pretty hefty. So you can see that there were 3 fires kind of in our surrounding area, in the general area of the western slope, that grew pretty big and damaged a lot. The Lee fire specifically, Meeker had to evacuate, and a lot of structures were damaged. And it was very good to see that a lot of people were willing to help move livestock, but not all the livestock made it out. And the Turner Gulch fire was the closest to us, and we were lucky that it ultimately didn't get that big and it didn't affect Fruita all that much, but in the future it could. And so the Two Rivers Wildfire Coalition is a partnership among local governments, fire protection districts, state and federal agencies, nonprofits, and others. And the reason that they wanted to bring these people together is to be able to coordinate because when we work together, we're able to do more for the community. And overall, one entity working alone isn't going to be able to do all of the mitigation possible. It's a very expensive process because how we've treated wildfires in the past is don't let it happen at all. And unfortunately, that allowed for a lot of buildup of different fuels around the area. And so when things burn, they burn brighter. So we, as the city, would be partnering with the Lower Valley Fire District. And the funding is coming from Two Rivers. And you can see the funding listed up there. So year one, 50,000, year two, 52,500, year three, 53,650. And that number is so high because it's going to take a lot to be able to fix things around here. And part of that actually is getting a tub grinder. I know we've talked about a wood chipper a lot at council, but a tub grinder is actually cooler because you can put a whole tree in there and, not just like one piece at a time. And the tub grinder will also provide us the material that we get from that you could use for all sorts of things, mulch or compost, a bunch of projects like that. So ultimately,
Park mulch.
ultimately, I think this would be a huge benefit to the city of Fruita. And I think that Travis would agree. So in the long run, what we want to do is make Fruita fire safe. We don't want to have to worry about our livestock or our homes or our natural habitats. And this will help with that mission. So these are a few of the mitigation strategies that are commonly used in the field. There's a lot of things that we can do, and there's a lot of updates to the WUI code, which Travis will explain shortly. But ultimately, you have to have multiple different facets of education and action to be able to actually get something done. So this partnership will allow a wider reach across the entire valley, not just in Fruita.
So in July of 2025, the state adopted their WUI code standards. They thought they were gonna be able to handle it and do their own thing, and now it's coming back to the jurisdictions that we have to adopt this code by April 1 of 2026 and implement it on July 1st of 2026. There's some stipulations with this as it comes forth. There's be some alterations, certain like roofing, if they do 20% or more in remodels, they have to reside. Then it goes into the WUI code standards, if they live within inside the boundaries according to the map. If you would like, I can open the map for you guys can see it. We're kind of minimal on the WUI code colors. They're classified as 1 and 2, and extreme all the way is red.
Yeah, that'd be great to pull it up.
It'll take a minute to load. So with this project, we'd like to focus in certain colored areas. That's gonna be the orange color, that's low or low intensity. That'd be the area around Kingsview, the Big Salt Wash, a lot of our drainages. And so that'd be the plan is to schedule out year 1, 2, and 3 in these areas. So with that, the classifications is 1 is a moderate. So they'd be looking at maybe some windows, some defendable space, 0 to 5 feet, 5 to 10 feet, and up to 100 feet. In that 5-foot zone, there would be no vegetation for flammability. With construction, it would be changing vent sizes from eighth inch or from a 1/4 inch to an 1/8 inch, looking at class 1 restrictive roofing, windows and doors, and siding.
So where's Fruita on this map?
West, the yellow, the orange.
So your Grand Junction's down there in that left corner, so we're.
Where that little red is probably King area.
Kingview is actually not red.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or
You can zoom in closer and on your computers and look.
Oh, I see.
So with this, we'd just like to put this funds into play. We were getting the community assistance grant through the BLM. Before, that fund is kind of drying up and going in partners with Two Rivers Wildfire. They're able to extend that contract and get more money for us. So a partnership between us and the city, we're looking at the 50,000 mark each year. Any questions?
I have a question on roofing. So, because I know a lot of people are getting new roofs right now. Currently, they don't have to meet these codes at this point in time. I'm just kind of curious.
Retrofit. So it's a new standard if they are gonna do remodels or new construction, then that the would
Do you know what the new do you know off the top of your head what the new standards are?
be Class A roofing, which is limited combustible roofing. So looking at tiles, looking at metal roofing.
So not the so shingles don't.
Some asphalt shingles do classify as Class A material.
So that'll be all new builds moving forward, Trev?
Starting in
Just in those
April
zones.
2026.
Just in those zones, okay. Okay.
Yep.
And that's being forced down through the state. We have no say in any of this. So where's the funding? It's
We are the we.
We are the we.
The article in the Daily Sentinel today about that, right?
I did not, but
We should try to keep it on topic. Yeah, let's keep this one on topic, please. All right. Any other questions?
yeah. So this mandate's coming down from state that we've got to make certain, we have to make certain code changes. And then we've also got to do some mitigate. Are they saying that we have to do this mitigation?
It helps with removing the fire threats, so we can change the color of the map, so we can reduce code standards in those areas.
So if the mitigation happens, then the zones, the places that are in danger may no longer be in danger and not require those.
How easy it is it to change those, the colors?
We do the mitigation work, we turn it into the state, they go through it to make sure that we meet their standards and update their codes as we go.
And so who's designed this plan of what we have to, how we're going to attack it, how we're going to go after it? And what we feel is the right areas to, if we do this section, we have a high reliance that states can say, oh, you did the right thing. Great, we'll change that.
That'd be the collaboration between the Two Rivers Wildfire, planning with the city for certain areas and Florida Valley Fire District.
And where did we come up with the proposed budget of 50-ish thousand a year for 3 years?
Comes down through the community assistance grant through the federal government. Those are the funds that are allotted for this area.
And is that spread for the whole area, or those numbers you put up, was that our portion of it?
That's our portion.
Our portion.
That's the Fruita.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Okay.
Usually in the past, we were getting 20,000, so we increased by 30.
How are you feeling about it, Trav? You like it? Okay. So you feel like you guys got good momentum and a good plan moving forward to keep us out of the hassle?
And everybody on the city staff, yeah.
Well, you threw Dan in there, so now it's a little iffy, but I mean, so you're good. Do you need anything else from us that helps you move forward with this other than just giving us an update on what we're doing? Is there anything we can do to help expedite it or make it easier on you guys?
Just outreach.
Okay.
Informing the citizens of Fruita that we are coming to their locations possibly, and to give them a little bit of assistance.
Sure. All right.
Great. Thank you.
Fantastic. I think it's
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Any other? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So now we are going to move into item B, which is a discussion item on Fruita Housing Authority bylaws and that discussion. And let me get your name correct here, Dan. Dan Karras, the Assistant City Manager, is going to start off the presentation. I'm not going to live this one down for a while, and that's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Again, Dan Karras, Assistant City Manager, just for the record. When Shannon, Mary Elizabeth, and myself were putting together this presentation to facilitate the discussion about any sort of amendments that might take place relative to the bylaws, I think that it's kind of important to note that, we created the Housing Authority in 2022. there's a real lag between the resolution that created that and establishing bylaws. I think it was resolution 2022-02, and then it's into the 40s, so well into the latter stages of the year. And a lot of the conversation was focused on limiting the scope. And so the scope as it stands today is essentially to foster and coordinate with cooperation with partners within and outside of the city of Fruita to create affordable housing through tax abatement programming. And then it just has an example, which is housing tax credits was the limitation. That was the scope for the Housing Authority. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we had our first proposal in front of us, and that was the financing tool that they were using. Since then, we've I think gotten a little bit more creative with some of our housing affordability initiatives. One that I can think of most notably, and most recently, is we applied for a grant for ADU incentives. And so, whether that's a city incentive, whether that's a credit from the Housing Authority to whoever wants to build an ADU. I mean, I think we are going to flesh those out with council and with the Housing Authority if we're successful with implementing a program such as that. But that's different than just low-income housing tax credit deals. And then I think that the biggest project that we've participated in is the Oaks, which is a locally funded, locally controlled, not bound by some of those state and federal restrictions. And that certainly is outside of the scope of what is in section 2 of the bylaws. And so I think that it's important to build in some flexibility for this entity. It was created to implement the city's housing goals, and certainly we're in the process of establishing those vis-a-vis a housing needs assessment, where I think there'll be some real strategies that come out of that. But I think that, we might consider, and I listed a few in there, that could serve as a good starting point for this discussion with regards to the bylaws. And then certainly if there's any questions that you have about how the Housing Authority is set up, who does what, how the city functions with the Housing Authority, Mary Elizabeth is prepared to answer those questions. But I think that we were not prepared necessarily to have a recommendation of a new set of bylaws, since this was just a facilitated discussion. So that's why we put those bulleted items in there that kind of reflect how we've operated recently and potentially how we might operate into the future, depending on the projects that come down the pike. One thing that Shannon and I have talked about at length is that with a lot of the state and federal funds drying up, we're going to really have to paint outside the lines, if we want to continue to participate in this space. And so, limiting it to just tax credit deals might not necessarily serve us into the future, especially since with a lot of the gap funding and a lot of the other financing tools that come from the Division of Housing or from CHAFA, they're going to get real competitive without some of these other grant dollars out there, whether it's HUD loans, USDA loans, whatever it might be. And so I think that, kind of right sizing this for the times, and then also, trying to make sure that we're achieving the city's goals, which you'll see in the cover sheet. We explained kind of at length that I think there's some ways we can tie this entity to whatever the housing related goals are for the community, and to make sure that anything that the Housing Authority does operates within those confines. And so I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to add, Shannon, or that you'd like to add, Mary Elizabeth, but I think we just wanted to kind of kick off the discussion and then, answer any questions and help facilitate as needed.
Thank you, Dan. There's one thing I'd like to add, Mary Elizabeth Geiger, City Attorney. We originally set this up and the bylaws reflect that the city council sits as the Housing Authority board. There has been some discussion at that time about at some point possibly changing the composition of the board to bring in community members. But I know that council was concerned about, again, potential oversight and ability for the city to know really what's going on with the housing authority. We didn't put this in the cover sheet, but if the council is so inclined to open the door to allow that to happen, doesn't have to happen right away, but amend the bylaws to allow for it. One way to make sure that the council is still involved is you can require in the bylaws that at least one commissioner is a city council member and one commissioner is a city staff member. So that'd be one way to have some oversight and crossover, but have that input from community members that are maybe more involved and more expertise in this area of affordable housing.
I think there's two discussions kind of on the table. And as a reminder, when we created this and we did the bylaws, we wanted, because it was brand new to all of us, staff, council, there was some anxiety on the bylaws and making it this big, broad, sweeping organization. And we really approached it at the time as what is the problem that we're trying to solve? And that's why we went solely with the LIHTC. I think we're at a position now where we're getting a little bit more comfortable with the role of the housing authority and the types of projects that are available or can be available to the city of Fruita. And at the original discussion, we did say, as these opportunities come back, we can sit and kind of talk about that. I think that's one discussion. I think another clearly different discussion, and I think is going to take a lot of noodling, is the composition of the housing authority. So, so for now, let's just kind of start talking about the bylaws in terms of what the housing authority has authority to do. So I just don't want to mix the conversations.
And to be clear, you're not being asked to make a decision tonight. We just want to get some feedback and direction.
This is for directional purposes only.
Yep, thank you.
And if I might add, Mr. Mayor, we did have two attachments. One is kind of a policy related look ahead for the town of Vale, not necessarily saying that we would suggest programs that are that well funded and that but I think that it's a good example of how the town of Vale connected their housing goals relative to what the actual town council itself set forth for the housing authority to operate within. And I think that, just from our perspective, I do believe that there's a policy and implementation step, and marrying those might not all land in the bylaws, but I think that's a really important thing to try and connect and continue to evaluate. So that's why we put that in there.
Thank you.
Along with some sample bylaws from the town of Windsor's housing authority.
I have some very strong kind of opinions on how this should grow and expand, but I'm going to keep quiet until others go first. So with that, anybody want to open up the discussion? All right, looks like
I definitely like the idea of not limiting it to LIHTC. I think that the Oaks is a fantastic example of things that I would like to see more of, as far as how we maintain that very local control and can meet those specific needs and tweak it as time goes on. We're not married to any specific, this really strict structure, which I think is a lot more Fruita, way of approaching things. So definitely in favor of not staying, strictly the LIHTC lane.
I remember from the initial discussions too, that various housing goals and approaches that we go everything can happen through city council except for giving property tax and sales tax. Is that still the case?
Yeah, that is the case, Mayor Pro Tem Hansi. I think the other thing that is a little bit of a nuance is that the city can't engage in providing any loans to projects, and so
They can.
they cannot.
City cannot.
They cannot, and so it's the tax abatement, and then It's the waiving of, well, it's the property tax abatement, waiving of sales and use tax. And then the housing authority can subordinate loans like we did.
Right, and the housing authority can become a partner as well, and the city cannot.
Which, yeah, to do that.
Is that, I like the idea of keeping the reins pretty tight, and because we can always amend, right? It's an easy process. It takes a little bit of time to amend bylaws and all that, but I like the idea of keeping these a little tight. I'm definitely not opposed to expanding as needed. And not forgetting that aspect, that what can the city do versus the housing authority. And like on my last point, but I'll come back if I have it.
Okay.
I also like the idea of as needed, and I like that on your bullet points that you mentioned the housing needs assessment, because I think that will help us know what is as needed and where, where that is. And I think all of your bullet points make perfect sense, and that it's not too broad, but also not as narrow as we started out. But definitely once we get through that housing needs assessment, that will help drive this picture in a whole other enlightened way. So I feel good with what you've presented, and I think we'll know even better how good to feel about these. After that.
May I just add something based upon what you guys just said with regard to amending the bylaws as needed? You really will not have, let's say a project comes in front of you. If technically, if you're being totally technical, adhering to the bylaws, if that is outside the scope, you would have to try to cram in an amendment. And I would just recommend that legally, you don't want to keep amending bylaws every 6 months or so as new projects come in. So I think what I heard Councilor Purser saying is with the housing needs assessment, that could create kind of a bucket.
Exactly.
You weren't thinking of just,
Not per
you weren't
project.
thinking of going 1 to 1 to 1.
Absolutely not.
Okay, I just wanted to make
Yeah,
that.
thanks for the clarification. That is exactly what I would meant. Like, yeah, because it would be dangerous. I would not want us as a council or any future council to be making decisions per
Yeah.
project brought to it, and you get in a lot of trouble looking like you're making changes just to fit somebody in. So know more about what the city goals are and also the actual needs of our city based on data. Thank you for the clarification.
I want to make sure.
I would just say, not having been involved in the formation of the housing authority, there's been somewhat of a mystery to me as to why it was there, what we were supposed to be doing. I appreciate very much this explanation, and I really feel that tying the scope of the housing authority to our goals as a city and what comes out of the housing needs assessment is essential.
Are we having this discussion in lieu of the workshop that we had talked about doing?
Are you talking about the economic strategic workshop?
No, I was under the impression at some point we were going to have like a quick educational, this is what we're currently doing. This are kind of some other examples of other local housing authorities, just to give some of us that maybe weren't there on the.
We had talked about doing that as a separate workshop
Yeah.
at one point in time.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I mean-
following up. Are we still planning on doing that, or is this discussion?
I don't remember seeing it on that list, but is it?
Yeah, this was, we wanted to at least, so this request was made to at least review the bylaws and kind of have this discussion to get some additional information. Then we could have a separate workshop. But yeah, we're mostly doing this tonight because we have Mary Elizabeth available to attend. And then assuming that we probably want to bring back some changes to council or to the housing authority, that can happen in a workshop setting before it would go to any sort of formal action on the bylaw changes. Yeah.
And that might need to be timed after we get the housing needs assessment
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
I would agree. I don't think that there's any, we need to base our decisions on that sort of.
No, but I think we do All right, now I'm going to speak. So, and I say this knowing I don't get to vote on this, but I still have a very strong conviction that as a housing authority should not be the ones that creates projects. And I say this in advance of what this study is going to come back with. I don't think we want to be in a position where the housing authority is like, oh, we see a need here. We're going to be the ones to initiate and develop it. Like, I think that we need to stay out of that. And for me, that's a hard line on that. I mean, I'm a little bit more comfortable if the housing authority says, okay, we see this need, we put it out there and see if, the market comes back and says, here's
Yep. If it's
proposals.
more like, to me, like how our building codes are and all of the things, how we form around that we get to form the things that we want to see and not form things that against keeping out, right? Like what you talk about a lot. Like I see the bylaws for the housing authority to be able to work within that very same way, which is not necessarily the housing authority putting a project together, but encouraging the things that our city needs. Is that?
Yes, for me, that's a hard boundary.
Agree.
And I mean, if I might add, I think a struggle, I mean, I think there's a very real policy and governance side of this that like needs to be addressed at the council level. But I think at the staff level, having been kind of I suppose a recovering land use planner at this point in time, like we don't really have anything to go off of. Get approached by folks. And so I think that right now we're using the comp plan, we're using real opportunities, to get like sites redeveloped, or really just like the general meetings and pre-application meetings with people. And we evaluate it based off of, some of the data that's now outdated from like EPS and from our comp plan. And so I think from the staff perspective, it would be nice to have that sort of sparkling brand new housing needs assessment, and maybe we replace that single sentence in the bylaws with what we're trying to achieve. And that way we have something that when we come back to council or come back to the housing authority, we can actually generate a staff report, generate like some recommendations. And so I think that was the impetus to this discussion. And I do believe there was some council members that asked for it. And I think that kind of part two of this to Councilmember Quigley's question is that we will then draft some actual draft changes and sort of massage those in a workshop setting. So it's productive. I mean, I remember doing this in 2022. It was not take one or five. So I think we're just trying to get this like kind of sequenced appropriately so we can have the most productive conversations.
I mean, I think as we look at this too, the housing needs assessment is very kind of detailed. I'm assuming it will be detailed in terms of what's needed. I think as we look at this, it shouldn't be just to that housing, the needs assessment. It needs to be, can't believe I'm saying it's a little, right, broader, and I can't imagine there's anything that would be in that needs assessment, depending on how we adjust this, that would be outside of that.
And council will formally adopt that housing needs assessment. That's how some of the other communities do it. So if you're worried about maybe scope changing too much, if the composition does change in the future, or maybe council is a little more removed, as long as you have that developed programs that are consistent with the housing needs assessment, that adds another kind of safeguard for council sets those goals at this level, and then the housing authority works to meet those goals.
And, also consider that you might want a timeline that's updated. Consultant for that, but I think that that's one area where we've seen some other housing authorities really start to sort of veer, and it's just because they weren't there when that was generated, and they didn't feel the need to update them because it said, hey, we need 2,000 units. And so there never was like at whatever prescribed AMI. And I think that, like, to your point, the freshening that, and then like making sure that we're not just operating on like the unit that we're trying to generate, but we're actually having like how we generate that unit confines as well will be helpful for us to spend our time the most effectively as well.
So that was part one. of kind of the topic for tonight. Part two is the makeup of the housing authority. I will tell you personally, I would rather not have this conversation tonight. I haven't had time to personally think about it. And I think this might be better suited for a workshop discussion item. Because as I'm sitting up here trying to process this, there's like a bunch of red flags and just it needs to be more of a casual discussion than here. So is everybody here comfortable? Okay, with not having that discussion tonight.
And I just wanted to bring it up. So as you're thinking about the bylaws going into the workshop and stuff, that is one other piece that you're thinking about too. So when you get to the workshop, you can have a productive conversation.
Absolutely, because they are that is in the bylaws. That is a piece of it.
Right. I'm just,
Yeah,
I said not prepared to,
with you. Yeah.
yep. Okay.
So just so I'm understanding this correctly, we will work on drafting up some samples.
Yes.
And then we'll try to get that done and on a workshop where we've got.
Well, we can have the in-depth discussion at a workshop in terms of both the scope and potentially the makeup of what that board would look like. All right.
And just one other thing that is in the cover sheet is not only potential oversight if you just, by requiring a council member or staff member on there, but also just Dan had suggested in the cover sheet, also having check-ins, that the housing authority basically reports to the council X number of times per year, that sort of thing. So there are various ways you can have those checks on the authority if you decide to go to a board that's not just the council.
And then, but that's also budgetary review as well.
Yep. This is the
Sorry, we selected that because that's been a performance request that the Council on Housing Authorities had of like our private partners. So it seemed like it made good sense.
Yes.
For sure. Just before you go away with that direction, do we need that prior to the housing needs? I mean, do we want some mock-ups prior to that? I don't think I don't necessarily need that.
In terms of what it might look like,
next steps.
the next step, I personally am comfortable with having it because once again, I don't want that housing needs assessment to be like, all right,
Yeah.
the driving force. I think we need to think about it from a strategic standpoint and the flexibility. I have a, fear of organizations is growing to grow. And so I would kind of like to have wrapped around it before we get that back.
And I would just add to that, Councilor Purser, right now it is very limited in scope. As we talked about, you've had a project that came through that is outside of that limited scope. So one thing you could also think about doing as a stopgap is only amend that piece of the bylaws just to get you through until that housing needs assessment comes out. And during that time period, you'll have the time to talk about the configuration and these other things. But just to make sure, you guys feel comfortable, if something like the Oaks comes up again, it is within the scope of what you're doing. So
Makes sense.
Thank you, Dan. And make sure I'm following this agenda correctly. Next up would be our city manager, Shannon.
Thank you.
Report.
Just a few quick items, and this is a really nice segue into my first update. So the Oaks, we will send out more information on this as soon as we have it, but we're scheduled to host a groundbreaking with the Oaks on November 4th. So that's either Monday or Wednesday. I'll have to check. Tuesday. Tuesday.
Meeting.
Yeah, well, one of our meeting days. Okay. We'll send out some more information, but they've been working on it, mostly working on the asbestos abatement right now, and then pulling some of the aluminum off the siding to be repurposed and reused in the future. So November 4th, we'll have a groundbreaking for that. We'll send an invitation out as soon as we do. There's going to be some use in the interim for that facility. So there's going to be some training done by Lower Valley Fire and our police department. So this date may change. We'll keep you updated, but it's tentatively scheduled for the 20th of this month. And there could be some noises associated with that. I'm told flashbang trainings, confined spaces, stuff like that.
Do they need volunteers?
That's what I asked. Yeah. Maybe for the asbestos. Okay. I don't want to speak on behalf of Lower Valley, but yeah, that was my first question as well. But the 20th. So if you get questions, we'll keep you updated on the date. But could be a little noisy around the Oaks, but we'll make sure we put out information ahead of time as well.
Set fires and let them.
Yeah. No.
It's threatening.
You did say that out loud.
Because isn't it being scraped? Just helping it.
Right. Other updates. So.
Back there making notes like.
I'm just.
Right. Other updates. So city engineer John Bull and I got to walk South Mesa Street this afternoon. So the construction started the Monday immediately after Fall Fest, and our crews are already working on sanitary sewer replacements on the south end of South Mesa. So you'll see a lot of work, especially near Fiesta Guadalajara. They're right now working on that sewer line replacement, and then also finding some old wooden water lines and abandoned water lines as well. But there's so much groundwater that they actually have to pump out a lot of it to even create, conditions to where they can work on that. So a lot of work being done. All the businesses are still available and can be accessed. So the Fruita Police Department and the Rides Bar and Grill, it's South Mesa's just closed at McCune. Fiesta can be accessed off of Plum Street. So we're trying to make sure that people know businesses are still readily available. And most of the work is just going to be McCune south to Highway 6 and 50 over the next couple months. So that's where a lot of it will be focused on. New sidewalks coming on that east side of it. And you've probably already seen kind of where the right-of-way markers are. If you've been out there, and the sidewalk will kind of be at those. But they're progressing really well. I got to see it today, and it's interesting all the groundwater you find down there, but they're doing a really good job, is what John was sharing with me already. The e-cycle event is this weekend at Public Works from 9 to 1 p.m. It is rain or shine. So if you get questions, mostly because we're forecast to get 2 inches of rain, which is unbelievable. I don't know if that's changed, but that's when I looked yesterday. It said 2 inches of rain. So that will still be going on. So that's at 900 East Kiefer Avenue. Due to the size of the e-cycle event last year, we actually decided to move it because it is a massive event. Not quite as big as our spring cleanup, but they filled all of their roll-off dumpsters last year and then some. So we're anticipating a crowd for that as well. But yeah, 9 to 1 p.m. at City Shops, and rain or shine. Jude was in good spirits. She said she's bringing the raincoat, maybe an extra one as well. So it will still go on. And then next.
That. That's a fairly new program. Yeah. Thank you. And it's been very well received.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then my final update. So if you're available, we did send out an invite for a tour of the launch property next Thursday at 5 p.m. So we'll meet here around then, approximately 5, and then carpool over to the site. We are so excited to show the progress. Our public works crews have done such great work, not just with grading, but, installing road base. There's a parking lot there. They got the pump primed, and irrigation water is on now as well. So they planted some dry land grass seeds, so native, drought resistant seeds, and it's they put the biosolids down as well, and you can start to see some of the grasses that are coming in. So super excited to show that, and it looks incredible. So next Thursday at 5, if you're available, it'd be great to take you out there. We can have.
We're getting 2 inches of rain. Make sure it's dried out.
Oh yeah, that's true. The driveway in though is all road base and rock and gravel. So I think even if we get rain, it should be hopefully good. But that's a good question. But yeah, so next Thursday at 5, and then my only other item is a lot of events next week. We have a city manager engagement event. Councilor Purser and I have base camp provisions at 5 as well. So if anyone's interested, appetizers and chats, or I think we thought of a more clever name than that, but it's not coming to me. So yeah, that should be great as well. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, we need to,
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. So actually,
how we work now?
oh, yeah. Counselor Quigley brought this up earlier, or maybe Counselor Miller. So we have that economic development discussion that we've been working on. So one of the important pieces on that is we wanted to find an outside facilitator to come and facilitate that discussion with council, our economic development partners, staff, and our some of our other partners as well. So we've been going through meeting with outside groups and consultants, and we almost have all of the quotes or proposals. So we'd like to send that over to council probably at the end of this week or next week, and then we can make a decision on who we'd like to use and schedule from there. I think we've had some really good interactions. We'll probably, we could, if interested, we could have a staff recommendation. There are some groups that when we were talking to them, they do a lot of these similar discussions where you have assets that need to be evaluated. How does that tie into your current goals, future goals, all of that as well. So we think we found some ones that would actually be really good kind of given our current situation, but more information to come on that. So yeah, thank you for that reminder. Yeah.
So a question to council, in terms of, I mean, I personally like if there's a group that you're like, no, we prefer not to work with, if they don't make the list, but would you prefer that they give the recommendation or rather see it without a recommendation?
I like the top three.
All right.
With my trust staff.
Happy with it.
All right. So top three with recommendation.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. With that, bring it back to council for council reports and action items. Rich, you haven't been here for a bit. Let's
I have nothing to add.
see. It was a great choice.
Yes.
Lots of meetings with Museum of the Colorado West. You guys got an email about that. I don't think I probably need to expand upon that at all.
Okay. Amy?
I just wondered about the 51 and Josephine's invitations to talk about who's going to post those.
Oh yeah, is it the Strong Schools, Strong Communities event? Yeah, we usually have at least 3 for that, so we'll probably post that. With Josephine's, it was kind of your own time, so I guess if anyone is going at the same time, we would have to, but we'd probably be fine because over 3 days there were kind of make your own RSVP. I thought, yeah. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. James.
Nothing.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm making up for it, I guess. Also, the employee appreciation is Friday.
Yep.
Correct? Okay. so-
Friday at 5:30. Yep.
And there may be more of us there.
Mhm.
I mean, than 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
So for that too. I had a conversation with someone today about a drone flying over Aspen Street. He said he chatted with bless you, with the came to the city and told somebody here today. And also that it happened some police staff were here for lunch or something and chatted with a police officer as well. But it definitely sounded like it was operating down Aspen Street by a juvenile, and like while he was walking, like got pretty down low,
Oh,
and fell threat.
interesting.
So I think it definitely should be something that is looked into. And
Oh,
he,
yeah.
like I said, he said he came in and chatted with somebody here in the building, a city staff as well. The police officer is also the city staff, but two different people. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware.
All right. So
of it.
question on that though, is it time for us to put another, on the Friday update,
Oh, we
a
could.
little
Yeah.
blurb about what that policy is?
Yeah, we definitely could. I'm getting a message that it was our marketing communications coordinator, so maybe he'll shoot me over some more information on that, getting some drone footage of downtown. But yes, we will
It
look
was
into
city
that.
Staff operating it.
Oh, it was him. Oh, sorry. Ammon does have his pilot's license. So.
It was Ammon doing it or not?
No, it was the employee that he talked to. Sorry.
Oh, that's who
Yeah.
the concerned person talked to. I was like,
Yep.
because my first thought was, oh, maybe the city is doing some marketing, but they were
Right.
told absolutely not. So that's okay. I don't want anyone to be
Oh, yeah.
I don't want that to be misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Emin.
Have we gotten requests from people to fly drones? 'Cause
Yeah.
I just saw like some commercial real estate and there were a lot of aerial footage. So we are
Yeah.
getting asked.
Yeah, yeah. We have requests, some like Excel just kind of tell us that they're going to, because there are, when that Muni Code amendment was adopted, there were some exceptions to that. But obviously, the biggest one, if you're invading privacy, that's not, an exception to that. So we have received a handful, especially local events and some of the other local businesses. Yeah.
And then just a reminder, the Arts and Culture Board's Heart of Fruita Art Walk is tomorrow at 5:30. Meet at the Farm Building, and then some of the board members are going to walk everyone around to the installations. So the artists will be there and get to chat about their artwork, and there'll be some snacks prior to the walk as well. So that's happening 5:30. Fruita Youth and Action Council, they have all sorts of social media. They're very active on that this year, which I think they hadn't been initially. And so go follow them on all the places. They have a drive-in movie on the 17th at the Civic Center parking lot, not Civic Center, Community Center parking lot at 7 o'clock for high school kiddos. And then they're also having a pumpkin carving contest after Trick or Treat Street on October 25th. That also will be at the community center. And I think that's it.
Forgot to mention, the Parks and Rec Commission met on Saturday and installed, I believe it was around 40 tree protection systems, taking stakes and mesh around it. I think we had 25, 30 people show up. Rich, you were there, is that about right?
Yeah.
And so we were able to protect a lot of the new trees that we installed earlier this year, plus some others. So it'll be a nice help to keep the beavers off our trees so we can have the next generation of trees to grow. So it was a great little turnout.
Part of that was due to a contribution Lions Club.
That's right.
Enabled us to have the fencing around there.
Yeah. It was a great event.
Thank you for everybody that came out and helped with the little festival we had. Gotten a lot of good feedback. Got some questions, which after I get a chance to spend some time with Kayla, we'll come back with some more information. Curious about how the funding went. There's some questions about parade routes, a couple of things that will need to be followed up on. A tremendous amount of community volunteers make that happen. That doesn't happen by accident. Funny, some of the feedback received, I think I mentioned it to Steve, they love the new stanchions. Like, thank you, they're aluminum, they're great, they're easy to carry, they lock together, that works out well. Coordinations with the bathrooms went well. Man, Sunday morning, there was a lot of pickup. Curious about grass after a foam party in terms of how bad was that? And do we need to look at any changes for next year?
I have been told that it is bad, and they're already working on working with the chamber on potential changes next year.
Okay, it was very popular.
Yeah.
In terms
Oh,
of the
yeah.
event.
Yeah.
Just gotta reorganize it.
Yeah, but the
Okay.
aftermath was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've yet to see any footage of the fashion show.
I haven't seen any documentation.
I'm fine with that.
Documentation. But I will be keeping it very,
Yeah.
very.
For those listening in,
It was great.
it was great. Council members should not quit their day job. So those of us that participated in the,
No offense.
Yeah.
On that.
I disagree. I think each of you did a fantastic job.
It was
Just a
fun
cool
addition.
new addition to the community and getting people to participate.
well, good. I'm glad you feel that way because I've suggested a lip sync battle with council next year.
Another addition, that'd be great.
So, That's all I've got. But thank you for everybody from the city and the city staff. I know it's a big push and a lot of people, but it is a signature event. So thank you. All right. So with that, why don't we, I'm assuming bio break, or are we good? Okay. So with that, we've got 2 executive sessions coming up. In terms of format, we'll do a motion for each. For B and C on the agenda, we'll do that motion. So that's part of the public record of who makes it. And everybody can be here for that. Then from there, we'll go into the executive session and read the announcements. And yes, I will take, so you'll be here for the motions, and then I'll take notes as to time in and time out, if that works.
Thank you. Yes, it does.
We can make 2 motions at the beginning.
Correct. They'll have to be separate, right? So I'm trying to, so we get rid of some of the awkwardness. Okay, so with that, would somebody like to make a motion for the first executive session?
Mr. Mayor, sorry. One thing to delete off of what you're reading, special counsel is not here, so it's just city attorney.
Okay,
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you.
Move to convene an executive session to receive legal advice from the city attorney pursuant to CRS section 24640224B and develop strategy for negotiations and inform negotiators pursuant to section CRS 24640224E with the regard to the city's possible acquisition of property in downtown Fruita.
First, second. Any questions or comments?
Can you just add who is going to go into that executive session? My understanding is it's also going to include Dan Karas and Steve Martinez.
All right. So we have a first. Who did the second? Richard, okay. Deb?
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley, Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams, Counselor Hansi. Motion passes 6-0.
Right. Thank you. Then I need a motion on the second executive session, and if you could just add who's going to be in on that one.
I move to convene into executive session for discussion of a personnel matter under CRS section 24-64024F for the city attorney's formal review with the city council and the city attorney.
Thank you.
Second.
First, a second. Any questions, comments? Deb?
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams, Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Purser.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Right. Thank you for that. And then based on feedback from council, we are not going to take a break. We're just going to move into the first executive session. So with that, we will need to change over the recordings and adjust who's. Yeah. Thank you.
I like your
Did
new
Deb just bail?
She did need 'em.